I was listening to Tim Miller's podcast one day last week. I think it was maybe Thursday. I think he had a journalist on named Ryan Grimm. And they were discussing, Ryan Grimm was discussing a term. He said there's a lot of fuckery going on right now. And he said that term is like when person A is talking to person B, and person A is lying and knows that they're lying, and person B knows that person A is lying, and person A knows that person B knows that person A is lying and is just doing it anyway. And that it's just some kind of bullshit power move. And it's like, if you want to see some fuckery that falls squarely into that category, watch J.D. Vance's press conference last week talking about the ICE shooting in Minneapolis last Wednesday. That's like top tier fuckery because J.D. Vance went to Yale Law School. He is, regardless of everything else, an extremely intelligent person. He knows that he is fucking lying. And he knows that everybody that he was speaking to in that White House press conference room or wherever he was, he knows that they all know that he's lying. And everybody in that crowd, every member of the press who was watching him also knew that he was lying. But his base, he knows that the base of the Republican Party is fucking stupid and gullible and very easy to manipulate. And they got their talking points from him because they've been in my comments for days saying that ICE agents have total immunity and that Renee Good was a domestic terrorist and was intentionally trying to run over and kill those ICE agents. Fuckery becomes a lot easier when you have a constituency like the MAGA base that are just absolute gullible fucking idiots, which that's today's MAGA base. And then there's like a next tier down of fuckery that would be perfectly demonstrated by Kristi Noem's interview yesterday with Jake Tapper on one of CNN's Sunday morning shows, where she spouted those same talking points, and Jake Tapper was confronting her and was being very effective in that. And she was trying to stick with those same J.D. Vance talking points. But J.D. Vance knows how to sell things to the MAGA base. Kristi Noem, unfortunately for her, is almost as big of an idiot as your average MAGA base member. She is just as dumb as a bag of hair, man. And I don't mean to attack her for her gender or anything like that. I'm not linking that to her gender. She's just a fucking moron. Here's the only thing that you need to know in order to assess the intelligence level that you're dealing with when you're dealing with Kristi Noem. In her most recent book, autobiography, I don't know what the hell it is. I'm surprised she was able to write a book, frankly. She wrote about how she took their 14-year-old puppy. I think the puppy's name was Cricket. The puppy was acting up, and it was like a hunting hound or something, like a German short-haired pointer or some shit like that. Cutest pup in the world, man. But it went after some chickens or something. It did what those kinds of dogs do, that breed. And so she took it like to a gravel pit or something and shot it in the face and killed it. She wrote that and included that in her book. She thought it would be a good idea for her to include in her book how she shot their puppy in the face. And then their daughter got off the school bus, who was like 12 years old or something, and said, "Mommy, where's Cricket?" That's the intelligence level we're dealing with when it comes to Kristi Noem. It's a gulf of distance between her level of intelligence and JD Vance's. So it's like when JD Vance engages in that kind of fuckery, that's like up here. Kristi's is down here because Jay Tapper just dismantled her in seconds. But when JD Vance does it like that, the way that he did, like a day or two after this happened, it solidifies that narrative among the MAGA base. And I think he was very effective in doing that. Certainly much more effective than Kristi Noem could ever do. And arguably, I think more effective than Donald Trump could ever do. Donald Trump, his first tweet was that the ICE agent had been run over, had been severely injured, barely escaped with his life, and fortunately was recovering in the hospital. And Donald Trump preambled all of that by saying, "I watched the video." He hadn't seen any of the video because in the video, the guy didn't even fall down on the ground. He just fucking walked away and he got in a car and left. He did not go to the hospital and he was not injured. You know, so it's like that didn't even convince the MAGA base because they can just watch the fucking video. And they did. And they're like, he didn't fall down. He doesn't look hurt. And they know that Trump's just an idiot and a liar. They expect Donald Trump to be dumb and lying at all times. That's one of the reasons why his base identifies with him, because they're also dumb and lying at any given moment. But JD Vance's fuckery is different. His fuckery is of a totally different level and impact, I would argue, than that of Kristi Noem. You know, someone else who is terrible at fuckery is Cash Patel. Cash Patel is terrible at it. He can't convince anybody of anything, ever. Even the MAGA base thinks that he's an idiot because he's not investigating anybody. He published a book, I think it was called like Government Gangsters or something, about the deep state. And there was an appendix at the back of the book with with a list of 60 names. He was like, these are the deep state. These are the ones that need to be prosecuted. Well, they tried to prosecute Comey. That didn't go very well. But he hasn't prosecuted a single other person on that list. Well, I should say investigated, because it's up to Pam Bondi and the DOJ to actually prosecute them. She hasn't prosecuted anybody on Cash Patel's little list either, except for James Comey and Leticia James. Those went right down the shitter. They can't even get a re-indictment for Leticia James. So, but it's like, for the fuckery to be truly effective, I think presentation is key. And JD Vance has his presentation down for fuckery. He really does. Because he, I think, almost single-handedly completely solidified the absolute bullshit narrative in the MAGA base that they have adopted on the killing, the murder of Renee Good last week. Yeah,